Hey everybody, and welcome to Meals with Melissa, where we come up with healthier things, well, healthier versions of things that you love to eat. So, I don't know about you, but meatloaf to me is a little bit nostalgic. Now, it depends on how it's made. But you know what? I love it. I eat a lot of beef. Do you eat a lot of beef? I eat a lot of beef. Now, I get mine grass-fed, grass-finished, because I source it locally. But, I don't know about you, it's a great source of iron. It's got some great vitamins in it. I know that they say that too much red meat is bad for you, but you have to remember a couple of things. Number one, what did they eat it with when they did this research? And number two, what did that cow eat? Because you eat what you ate. All right, now, did you catch that? Now, I don't know about you, but I like to make things super simple because I just don't do complicated. So, really super simple. These are mini low-carb meatloaves. So we're actually going to use, for our binder today, instead of bread, like breadcrumbs, we're actually going to use pork rinds. Now, I know you can grind them up yourself. It's kind of a pain. I actually found this at my local grocery store. They're already made for me. And they have a couple of different flavors. Super easy. Yeah, they're a little pricey, but you don't need much. And so that's what we're going to use today. All right, super simple. I've got my oven preheating to 350. I have 1 pound of ground beef. Now, I'm not going to use the expensive stuff on this. This is kind of, this is an 80-20. The stuff that we get, actually, I'm not even sure what percentage of fat it has because, actually, I don't care. It's actually really decent, and it's healthier than most of the stuff you get at the grocery store. So, I've already made a batch of this. Super simple. So, I'm going to take 1 pound of ground beef. I'm going to add to it 1 cup of onions. Honestly, I'm just throwing everything in here, and then I'm throwing it in either a muffin tin. I'm actually using a loaf pan because that's what I have on hand. I actually don't have a muffin tin, believe it or not, but this is what I use during the holidays to make pumpkin bread. So, we're going to use that today. All right, so I'm going to dump in 1 cup of chopped onion. All right, I've got a bunch of spices here. I am going to use 1 egg, again, part of my binder. So I'm just going to throw all this in and mix it up, okay? The oven is set to 350. It's preheating there. All right, so all my spices, I'm going to do 1/4 teaspoon. Makes it super simple. So I've got, just wiping my hands here a little bit from the egg. 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder. And again, this is all, fortunately, I had almost everything on hand. And I really like that because I don't want to have to go buy a bunch of groceries in order to make super simple things. All right, so 1/4 teaspoon of some onion powder. Okay, a 1/4 teaspoon of some garlic powder. You can never have too much garlic. I'm serious. Love garlic. Anybody who knows me knows I love it. So make sure that your loved one also eats the garlic. All right, garlic powder. All right, 1/4 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. Again, easy one that I have on hand. Italian seasoning. All right, super simple. And it doesn't really take very long to make either. So the great thing about this is you can portion control it right in advance, put it away, either put it in the freezer or put it in your fridge as part of your food prep for your lunch tomorrow. Have some for dinner, have some for lunch tomorrow, freeze it, use it later. If you're smart and you're busy, like me, you'll want to make things in advance and have it ready to go because that's the surest way to make sure that you are successful with your health goals. All right, I'm also going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now, normally, I like to use Himalayan pink salt, but this is what I have on hand right now. So that's what we're going to use. All right, also a 1/4 teaspoon of some black pepper. Super simple. And of course, if you want it a little bit fresher, you can, grind your own, do all that fun stuff. All right, I'm also going to add, let's see, I believe it's 1 cup. Yes, 1 cup of my pork panko breadcrumbs. They're not really bread, right? So I'm going to throw that in there as well. Now these are the Italian seasoning ones. I figured that was kind of smart since they called for Italian seasoning as well. All right, so I'm actually just going to, now it gets a little clumpy, so just keep in mind you might want to squish, is that a word, squish? Yeah, squish them, squish it up a little bit. All right, it's kind of clumpy. So I'm using a 1/2 cup just because I already had onions in the cup measure, and I really don't want to get that mixed, get it wet, get it moist kind of thing. All right, so I'm going to put this in here. Now, I'm going to use a really great, very efficient tool to mix this up. My hands. All right. Just because, of course, I want to get the burger, or the ground beef, mixed up a little bit, and it's a lot easier to use my hands. Don't worry, they're clean. All right, so I'm going to do this. Now, I've already done a test batch, and what I learned in my test batch is number one, it says that it makes 11 1/4 cup servings. I'm going to say Yeah, I wouldn't cook it that small. I'd probably do maybe almost a half cup. Makes it a little bit thicker. Even in a muffin pan, you really don't want it to be, they ended up kind of flat. So I'm gonna put a little bit more in each little, spot for my loaf pan. All right, so it smells really good. That's the best part, right? Because smell, olfactory is half your sense of taste. So I know all about that from contest prep when I smell things that I can't really eat. Yep, I know all about that. All right, so I'm actually going to ball it up and portion it and put it in my little loaf pan, and we're gonna throw it in the oven for about 15 minutes. Actually, it'll probably take a little bit longer than that, only because I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger serving sizes. Super simple. Make sure it's all mixed up. I don't mind getting my hands dirty. It doesn't bother me. All right. Then also, I want to show you this. This is Primal Kitchen ketchup. Now, it's organic and unsweetened. Point being is ketchup actually contains a lot of sugar, and that is something we're trying to avoid, especially because we're trying to make this low carb. This is keto friendly, so if that is something that you are doing, this works for you. All right. There is other options when it comes to ketchup. G. Hughes carries one. Now, I have to tell you, it does contain sucralose. That is probably the main reason to not use it, because if you are diabetic or you are trying to avoid sugar or trying to raise your blood sugar, sucralose actually does raise blood sugar. I know they say it's non-nutritive. That's because they're using some loopholes. All right, so I'm going to kind of ball this up. I'm going to smush it into my little loaf pan here. See if I can put that on there. Okay, and like I said, I'm going to cook it for a little bit longer than the 15 minutes. Ooh, there's my oven. It's ready to go. Cook a little bit longer. Now, you don't need to spray them with pan spray or anything, because, of course, there's enough fat in the meat in order to keep it from sticking, so that's not a problem. I'm going to put about a half a tablespoon of the ketchup on top of it. Now, another option, something I used to make my kids that we really loved was little mini cheddar meatloaves. So if you'd like to throw a little bit of cheddar cheese in there, not a bad option. You might drop the fat percentage of your beef to do that. So maybe get it like the 4%. Like I said, I believe this is 80-20. So it's a little high, but it's not a bad idea if you want to add some cheese to get a smaller fat option. All right, so I'm going to throw this in there. I'm going to throw this in, like I said, into my oven to cook for about, like I said, start at 15 minutes. Check to see if it's done. Ooh, look at that. So I actually made 6. It says it makes 11. Yeah. I'm on my 6. That's what I'm going to do. Now, make sure that if you are watching and you're tracking your macros, make sure you put it in MyFitnessPal. See how much it does end up being for your macros and your calories. It's important to track those kind of things. I know people say, well, that's just too much for me. I get a little too detailed and it starts to drive me crazy. Well, you can't manage what you don't track. So if you are not paying attention, I have a lot of people that will come to me and say, why am I not reaching my goals? I'm like, okay, well, what are you eating? And they're like, well, I'm eating this and this. Well, how much? Well, I don't know. Well, then how do I know why you're not reaching your goals? Because I don't know what you're doing, right? All right, so I'm going to throw that in there. Wash my hands real quick. Woo-hoo. I got to throw let's throw the ketchup on there first. Like I said, so it's actually not bad. I tasted it. It's really not bad. It's definitely a lot less sweeter than regular ketchup, so keep that in mind. However, if you're trying to eat healthier, the benefit of that is that your taste buds are actually going to get used to eating things that are less sweet, and even things like fruits and vegetables. Fruits will feel like dessert, and vegetables will actually, their natural sweetness will start to come through. Man, we get so addicted to the hyper palatable foods, the processed foods, and how much sugar and garbage are in them, because it's not really food. It's food like substances, right? It's not really food. Food is something that doesn't have more than a couple ingredients, period, right? Now, you can make a recipe, that's different. But if you're buying it from a store and it has like 5+ ingredients, it's a processed food-like substance. It's not really food. So I'm going to throw those in there. I'm going to show you what I did make. Like I said, I'm making these a little thicker than the original batch, just because I don't want, I like it to be a little juicier. I don't want it to be dried out. But sometimes that takes a couple of tries, a little bit of trial and error to see if it works for what you're looking for. All right, and again, portion control, right? So here's what they ended up looking like. Like I said, they're little flat. I'm going to try a little bit thicker and see if that works out a little bit better, but it actually tastes pretty good. So if you like beef, if you're missing out on meatloaf, but you really don't want the breadcrumbs, you're trying to avoid, some of those things that make it a little less healthy, it's not a bad option. Anyway, I get my very best ideas from you, so if you have a recipe you'd like to share, please make sure that it's not complicated. I don't do complicated. I'm not the best cook in the world, and I know a lot of you aren't either. That's why we do this, but I love to share. I want to make sure that you have the ability to make things that are healthy for you. Now, leave a comment below. You can message me directly at Facebook Live, and if you are not on YouTube, or if you are on YouTube, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know all the new stuff that comes out, because why not? Actually, you can go back and watch everything that I've ever posted, because it might give you some great ideas. I have a sweet tooth, so there's a lot of that on there too. Anyway, have an incredible week, you guys. Until next week, that's Meals with Melissa. Try it out and let me know what you think. Have a good one.